Hello everyone! On this video we are going to see how to use SQL queries with LibreOffice Base. Imagine that we have a database with big amounts of data. That's useless if we can't get what we need from that database. In order to do so, we can use the SQL language. SQL stands for Standard Query Language, and it is a language to ask the database what we need. How should we create a query with SQL? First of all, we have to think, right? In order to create a query, we are going to answer three simple questions. Which fields do I want to get? Inside which tables are those fields? And do I want all the records, that this is all the rows, or only some rows from that table? After answering those questions, write the query, right? And an advice: always open the relationships view in order to have a full view of the tables and fields that we are using, okay? So, how do we write basic queries, okay? The structure of a simple query is quite simple. First of all the queries will begin with the word select. After that word, right, we are going to write the fields that we want to get, the fields that we want to see, separated by commas in case that we want to see more than one field, right? After that, we are going to write the word from and the table where those fields are in, right? And a couple of hints. First of all, with LibreOffice, table and field names are case sensitive. This is uppercase and lowercase matters. We must write table and field names just as they are defined on our database. And another hint, if you want to get all the fields in a table, right, just write an asterisk instead of all the field names, right, separated by commas. If we say that we want to see all the data about teachers, for example, we won't write all the names of the fields in the table teachers, right? We can just write an asterisk, and that means all the fields. In order to learn how to write our simple SQL queries with LibreOffice Base, we are going to use this example database, which contains 4 tables, okay? School, teacher, subject, and a relationship between teacher and subjects, which is the table rel_teach, right? We are going to write our queries inside this database. Let's create our first queries with this database. We are going to do these 2 basic examples, okay? For the first query, get all the teachers' names and second names, and get all the teachers' data. Let's go on with the first one. In order to do so, we're going to open our relationships view, and we are going to ask the 3 questions that we mentioned before. First of all, which are the fields that we want to get? The teachers' names and second names, right? T name and T second name. Where are those fields? Which is the table that contains them? TV teacher. That would be the second question. And third question, do we have any condition, or do we want to get all the teachers' data? Okay, we want to get all the teachers' names and second names. So we have no conditions. We have just answered our 3 questions. Let's create our first query. In order to do so, on LibreOffice, we are going to go to Consultas. In this case, I've got it in Spanish, Consultas, Queries. I am going to create a new query with SQL. In order to make things easier, I want to see my relationships view along with the query that I am going to write. So, as we said before, my first word will be select. Always select. And if I have written it correctly, it will become blue. Now, which fields do I want to see? T name and T second name. Remember, uppercase and lowercase must match. T E name, T E second name. It doesn't matter if I leave a space here or if I don't do it. Then from, and now the table. Okay, these 2 fields are inside TB teacher. Once I have written this, I click this button here and I see the result. Names and second names of all the teachers. If I write something wrong, imagine that I misspelled or I wrote this incorrectly and this E should be uppercase. If I try to execute it, I will see that column not found, TE name, okay, so this means that TE name is written wrongly, okay. I can see which is the mistake by looking at the error message, and I can correct it easily. Once I have written this, I can save my query. So for this is example 1. I can close, and in case that I need to change something, I can edit it again, or if I double click, I will see the result. Our second example said that we want to get all the teachers' data. I mean, not only the names and second names, but all their data. So let's write a new query. We create a new query, relationships view, and here I will say select, and now I want to see all the teachers' data. So I could write TID, comma, T name, comma, T second name, comma, T birth date, comma, SC code, okay, or just write an asterisk. This means all the data, okay, in this case, from TV, okay, I'm missing a T here, from TV teacher. If I execute this, I will see all the data from all the teachers, right? If I save this, this would be example 2. And there I've got my two first examples, my first two queries. SQL becomes more powerful when we begin using conditions. What if I don't want to see all the teachers' data, but just some teachers' data? Okay. In order to do so, after the from table, from TV teacher, I will write where and then my conditions. Okay. We need to know that conditions are just comparisons or a between clause that we will see later, right? What do we mean when we say that they are comparisons? That we are going to write if something is equal to something, or bigger than something, or smaller, or bigger or equal, smaller or equal, or different, right? These are the signs that we are going to use for equal, bigger, smaller, bigger or equal, smaller or equal, and different, right? What can be those A and B be? Okay, A and B can be field names, they can be numbers, they can be texts, they can be dates, okay? And we need to know that field names and numbers are going to be written without quotes, okay? But texts are going to be written with simple quotes, and dates with simple quotes, and in this format, right? Year with 4 numbers, month, and day. Let's create a couple of queries with simple conditions, okay? First, we are going to get all the teachers' names and second names, but only if they work at the school 1. Let's go to our relationships. Okay, we want to get TE name and T second name. These are our fields from TV teacher, and we have a condition. They need to work at the school 1. Okay, as each teacher works at one school, here we can see the code of the school they work in. So SC code is the field for our condition, and SC code must be 1, okay, as we want to see all the teachers' names and second names, but only if they work at the school 1. So let's go to LibreOffice. Let's create a new query. I want to see this, and I will say select. What do I want to see? Name, this is T name, and second name, T second name. From, those fields are inside TV teacher, And now I've got a condition. I want to see only the data, so where the school code, C code, is equal to 1. This way, I am going to see the teacher's name and second names, but only if they work at the school 1, if their SC code is equal to 1. If I execute this, I will see that only these two teachers work at school 1. I'm going to save. This is the example 3. I close, and our next example is get all the teachers' names and second names, but only if their name is not Jorge. Okay, so this would be similar. Okay, I want this. I will create a new query, and I will say select. I want to see again teachers' names and second names, so T name, comma, T second name from TB teacher, but only, okay, so I've got the condition where if their name is not Jorge, that is, if TE name is not, okay, that is different, Jorge. If I execute this, I will see 7 teachers and none of them is named Jorge. Right? I save. This is example 4. And I close, and that's it. And what about between? Okay, if we are using dates or numbers, sometimes our condition can be that something must be between two values. Okay, how can we ask for that? We can write something should be between something and something, okay? A should be between B and C. A will usually be a field, and B and C are usually going to be a couple of numbers or a couple of dates, right? For example, imagine that we want to get all the teachers' names and second names only if they were born in 1980. Let's take a look to the structure of our TV teacher table. Here we've got a field which is T birth date. Okay, we cannot say that the birth date must be equal to 1980. Okay, because 1980 is a year, but birth date is just a date. Okay, it's not the full year. But we can say, okay, how can I know if someone was born in 1980? Okay, because he was born between the first day of the year and the last day of that year. So I can write something like this. Let's create a new query. I want to see my structure just to make sure that I'm writing everything correctly. So I select. I say that I want to see the name and second name. T name, T second name from TB teacher. And now my condition. Where, okay, I want to write a condition, so where, and I want to see only those teachers born in 1980. So their birth date, TE, birth date, must be between, okay, the first day of the year, so we use the format that we just said. This is the first day of our year. If we want, we can write here enter and continue on a new line. And the last day of the year, that would be December 31. If I execute this, I will see, okay, the name and the second name, these two teachers. And just to see that this is correct, okay, let's add the birth date just to make sure. Okay, the birth date, we want to see this as a date. okay, these two teachers were born in 1980. Okay, this was just to clarify. Okay, and this is, let's save. This is example 5. Close, and there we are. And what if I want to use more than one condition, right? In that case, I can write and or between the conditions that I am writing. Okay, and means that all the conditions must be met, or means that just some conditions must be met, and I can use parentheses in order to group the conditions so they make sense. Let's do some examples. Okay, first of all, I want to get the data. This is all the data of the teachers with name Jorge working at school 1. So here I've got two conditions, and both must be made. Okay, name must be Jorge, and they must work at school 1. Let's go to LibreOffice. I create a new query. I want to see this. Okay, so I want to select. In this case, I want to see all the data. So I write an asterisk from TB teacher. Okay, I want to see teachers data if their name is Jorge. So I've got a condition there where TE name equal to Jorge. Okay, as this is a text, I quote it. And I've got another condition, and both must be met, and they must work at the school 1. So SC code must be equal to 1. If I execute this, I will see that only one teacher, okay, birth date is seen as a number. I must change the format to say that this is date, right? Okay, only one teacher, okay, works at school 1 with name Jorge. I save. This is example 6. I close this, and my next example is data. Again, all the data of the teachers with name Oscar, or, okay, in this case, I've got or, born in 1980. So let's go to LibreOffice, create a new query. I want to see the relationships, and my query is select. What fields do I want to see? All the fields from TB teacher, and I've got two conditions where first condition, TE name must be, this is a text, so I quote it, Oscar, okay, or they must be born in 1980. So, or TE birth date is between the first date of that year, that is January the 1st, and between the first date and the last date of that year, that is December the 31. If I execute this, I will see, okay, the birth date again. I changed the format. Okay, this is because of LibreOffice, right? I changed that format, and their name is Oscar, or they were born in 1980. So I save this. This is example 7. And okay, that's it. And my last example is I want to get name and second name of teachers with name Jorge at the school 1 or with name Oscar at any school. All right. let's create a new query to see this, and I want to see, select, I want to see names and second names of the teachers, so TE name, TE second name from TB teacher where. And here I've got two parts. First, name Jorge and school 1, or name Oscar without school. So I will use parentheses to say where TE name is equal to Jorge and SC code is equal to 1, or just TE name is equal to Oscar. Okay. And here I've got that these two teachers, okay, this one is Jorge at school 1, and this is Oscar at any school, right? This way I can use parentheses to group conditions so they make sense. And this is example 8, and we are done. Hope you understood this. Thank you.